Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it premieres, not while it's live, but there is a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly though, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Zinda, The Plain Truth, Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Jonathan and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good afternoon.
Hello. What?
I wanted to start out saying it's good to be back on the Flat Earth Debates.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to rattle through housekeeping now. I've got a slightly bigger panel than I did on the last show, just me and Arwin. So, any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
Nope.
Not as of late.
No?
None. Just minor signs. It's not very consistent.
But axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, as Ranty's on the panel.
Afraid not, Nathan. Can't find it.
Yeah, I tried to run with it, and I noticed I wasn't running any faster. So no.
Didn't find that separate reference frame.
Like the things in the airport.
What about the Coriolis effect?
What Coriolis effect?
If I could fly, I could prove that one. Or disprove.
What about the distance to the sun? Any evidence of that?
Hell no.
I want to see proof it's a physical object first.
I'd like that too.
And not based on a presupposition of some kind. Like, you can't analyze the light and then compare it to light having shown off material and then say, oh look, because the light is the same as this material we shown off, then the sun must be of that material. Because what's that type of fallacy called again?
I don't know. Probably reification. If you're making something that's not real.
Yeah. I think it was the hamburger analogy, that thing.
And affirming the consequent formal logical fallacy.
Yes, that's the one. Thank you.
Okay. So assuming your outcome, if P then Q, Q therefore P.
So I'm interested in your group opinion on this idea that I came up with the other day, that the next wave of the next generation, whatever you want to call it, the next group of kids, young people, if they're raised in a world where all the questions, all the the big questions of the world aren't answered, and they're not given some like set template of like, this is what this is, everything has been figured out. There's no reason to wonder outside of, what you're going to have for dinner. And we figured it out, and there's nowhere to go because it's all been explored. Have fun with it. See ya. And these same people complain when they see the millennials and the youth of today with their heads buried in their cell phones. It's like, what reason do they have to challenge themselves? What reason do they have to think if there's nothing to think about? So I see the flat Earth model as an opportunity for everyone to get a fair shot at what they might theorize, or they think the sun and the moon are. You know, it's a good thing, and it could do. We could embrace the next great mind, but we're turning kids off. We're turning their brains off, and giving them every reason to just sink into digital AI nonsense.
Of course, it has been predicted this way for the past 40 years, hasn't it? You know, if you look at all the films that they've put out in Hollywood, all the predictive programming about how we're going to end up, the Matrix, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's obvious what is going to happen. It's what they've been trying to do.
This could be a saving grace, you know, because I mean, the first thing I thought about was, wow, nobody knows what the moon is. So that means their garbage, you know, explanation that means nothing, you know, telling us that they know the inside of what Jupiter looks like or whatever, the inside of Pluto, you know, but now people can put their, you know, they could get busy trying to figure some things out. It's a mission. There's a reason to think.
Well, they've just told us that there's a planet that rains diamonds. Come on, it rains diamonds there.
Cool.
So
Yeah, there's an effort to keep
Nice.
it exciting. To keep
Oh
space.
man, now we really need to get to space to harvest those diamonds.
it would be really expensive, but I kind of agree with you that there isn't much left to discover for let's say, for a normal person who didn't put their whole life in a certain way of study, right? There isn't new land. Probably there isn't new land to discover for us. If the world is a sphere, there isn't. I don't know that there aren't many basic things new to discover, right? So it kind of puts us in a spot where we are kind of like trapped, right? And we kind of feel like we can't contribute anything meaningful anymore.
Soul crushing.
Yeah, and I got that feeling a little bit, right? I mean, for many people too, they say like, yeah, we were born too late to discover the world and too early to discover the universe, right? Because many people they think that at some point we can go into a spaceship and discover new planets and everything, right? So that kind of puts those people down, and they'll say like, oh no, we are born in an era that is kind of boring for us, right? There's nothing else. There's not much to do anymore. Might demoralize people. I don't know.
That's the point. I think that was very eloquently put, Zinda. Yes, nihilism.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when somebody asks what difference does it make, there's your answer.
Yeah, you're right. But what can we do about it?
Well, quite a lot. If you are of the understanding that you are in a completely figured out system that you can't get away from and there's a limitation to everything. Now, by saying this, I am in no way implying there is more land. Again, like with the sky, I've no idea. So, while fine, if Jonathan wants to make assertions that it means there is more land, I wouldn't make that assertion because I've got no idea. Same goes for Antarctica. You know, we're working off quite a number of presuppositions when you talk about, you know, maybe beyond Antarctica. Well, what do you mean beyond Antarctica? Do you know what Antarctica is? I've never been there either. You know, we're told what it is on different models from different sides of this argument. But ultimately speaking, we have no idea about any of it. None.
Well, no, if you think about it this way, Nathan, this is how I look at it, is that if you go back and you believe the official narrative, let's go back 1,000 years, and we go back to countries like Africa and we go back to places like Great Britain, and they think that they are the only land that they have. They don't know that they can travel across the ocean and find new land. And if we are in a place where what we are told is dictated to and we are stopped from going any further, then we're conditioned to say, oh, we live on a ball. But for all we know, there could be more land. And I absolutely believe that there is more land. I know you don't know necessarily, but there's no limit unless we can go and find out. And if we're being stopped from finding out, then there has to be a reason for that.
Yeah, you know, technically there should be more land. Whether there is or not, I have no clue. But if the Earth is if it's going to process itself as we perceive it, which is pretty much flat, everywhere we go, the Earth is beneath us. At least that's how I experience it. It should follow that there's always going to be Earth beneath us. You know, it's the ball to me was an economic strategy. Thomas Malthus in 1910, I think it was, the economic mathematician, he inventoried the world. So this was they wrapped it up and said, well, this is it. We know the population. We know the gross national product of all these countries. Now we can get busy on manipulating all of that. And that's when it's been quantified. It's been put to rest. You know, it's been settled, in other words. When in reality, it's,
yeah, that's,
you know, to someone who hasn't been, you know, hasn't had that force fed to them, they won't even think in those, you know, they won't even think that way. Like
the scene from the Truman Show, isn't it? So in the Truman Show, that he's as a child in school, he says, "Anthony, you're causing crazy feedback." So in the schoolroom scene, he's asking the teacher if he can be an explorer when he's older, and she's told him, "No, you can't be an explorer." She pulls down the map. Going on.
I was on mute.
Sorry, it was your line I saw dancing up and down. Maybe it was just a glitch with Google Hangouts. So yeah, she pulls down the map and says, "No, it's all been explored. We know what it all is. We know where it all is. End of story."
Yeah, and if like, just elaborating on some of what we're told is history. If you look at the Vikings, for instance, they were told, well, they used to raid on the Viking lands, didn't they? And then one day they got in a boat and they found England, you know, and then they were able to come and pillage England. Well, if you go back 10 years before they ever found that, in their land, that's what they know is their land. They don't know there's anything further than that. And we have water, you know, everywhere around us there's water. We just don't know how far we can go until we try it, until we go.
It's interesting, the mythology and the fantasy they create with science fiction, because up there we can't really verify any of it. So they can come up with anything, any story, any description, any kind of like narrative they want, because to us there's no hard fast barrier. You know, it just goes on forever because that's, well, kind of looks like that. It's believable. It's sellable to the public, and they've gone nuts with it. It's like space is infinite. You know, it's uncharted waters or uncharted territory. And just think, you know, of the places we could go to in space. It's like, well, hang on a sec.
I'm hanging.
You know, I was trying to finish that thought. You know, if a kid didn't grow up with the sphere model, I don't know, it would take a whole re-indoctrination. I don't know what that would look like. I think it's better. It engages. It's more engaging mentally, psychologically, because there's no one really to verify. We can't get to the moon. We can't get to the sun. We can't really touch these things. It's all really theory. That's kind of what I put out to people. I'm like, you know, do you really know for yourself? And it comes down to, no, I'm fine with taking someone else's word for it. And that's a huge statement. It's like, so you take your whole reality from someone else's viewpoint? What does that say about you? And usually they get pissed off, and that's the end of the conversation. But it's a good way to stick it to people that are satisfied with secondary information, someone else's reality. Well, some guy went to space, and well, he said it was like this, so it's like, no, that doesn't say much for anybody. That's why I don't get the lack of curiosity, the lack of adventure in these globe supporting types that are adamant against this. I'm still waiting for the way to verify it. That's the question I have. How do I check for myself? And no one's answered that question yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a decent position as long as we don't make any assertions, which is why I don't take issue with it particularly. Obviously, you're entitled to your belief. It depends how you express it. But when you say I don't know about the land, but you know there could be more land, that's fine. It's just people who assert we do live on a map or that we do have an ice wall.
Yeah. It's when they get to those absolutes where they're like, it's this now. It's like, no, stop. People got to stop labeling things, and like, it's just another way to like say it's this, it's not that. You know, it's this version.
I'm back. Is Anthony here? Sorry, I misheard a few things, but
Yes.
are you back? All right.
How can I help?
I'd like to show you the angle of attack video I tried to make.
Hey Zinder,
can
I just say, can I say one thing? It was just what I was about to say. That what it comes down to is people need to question things for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they need to re-empower themselves and understand that they can make these choices if they want to. If they feel like they're not an expert and they need to be an expert in things, then well, that's their problem. But if somebody comes to the conclusion that the Earth is a sphere, and they believe it for them, and they have this evidence that they're not showing us, well, okay, I support that. If they think it's concave, then I support them thinking for themselves. But it's when people just blindly run with with someone else's image, someone else's pre-made model. There's something wrong with that. It's not a good sign.
Well, I mean, at the end, it is important to watch out all possibilities and then go with the one that sounds most logical to you, right?
Yeah, I was going to say
that's what I did with the sphere then, because for me the sphere sounds as the most logical explanation for what we are living on. If it is traveling around the sun, or if the sun is traveling around me, it is kind of another step, right? But I don't know. I think the heliocentric model is the most logical to me, so I go with it.
Right. What you're demonstrating is exactly where people need to be. They're using their own head to figure things out. You know, they're using their own senses and their own perceptions and their own experience and validating it.
Yeah.
You know, you haven't been sold yet on a flat model and you're here. That's fine. That's cool. Just as long as you're not taking anyone's word for it. You know,
I mean,
that's when you get in trouble. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm saying the people are like adamant about it's, you know, to the point of emotional breakdown.
Well, the thing is, I'm kind of doing it too. I take the words of people and I don't go full with their what they say, but I go in a certain way, right? I go in the direction.
You exercise discernment, right?
Yeah, I mean, for example, like a medic or whatever, I trust the medic that he gives me the best advice. I know he might not give me the best treatment, or he might not give me the best medicine or whatever, but I go with him because I don't have the knowledge of the medicine for myself, right? So the same is a little bit with the heliocentric model. I really don't have enough understanding to figure out everything for myself. I'm trying to right now, but I go with the heliocentric model because it just makes most sense to me, not because I have good evidence for it.
At the end of the day, you know, you're going to end up. It doesn't even really matter the shape. At the end of the day, you're doing yourself justice. You know, you're living for yourself, and you're having your own experience best you can with God's gift of life or spirit or whatever. Sorry, rant high.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that something occurred to me recently. It's obviously we're seeing all this censorship going on regarding the flat Earth, and I believe in the next few days, you know, specifically flat Earth was mentioned as a target for YouTube censorship. But if it's such a you know, an outlandish theory, why would they go specifically to mention us by name? And also, if you think about things like the Discovery Channel, when they did an entire documentary and they brought that Stephen Hawking guy in on it. So Stephen Hawking, who's supposed to be the best, you know, scientist going at the time, that was able to look up at the stars, know everything about the stars. Why was he making a documentary about flat Earth? You know, and trying to disprove it. Why were they bringing in the biggest mastermind in the world to disprove the flat Earth? And why were they putting it on the Discovery Channel as a debunking of flat Earth? It makes no sense.
He's an archetype. He's a symbol of intelligence. So when he says it's not the thing, that's all they're doing. It's just mind games.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to point out is that if it was such a weird conspiracy, why would they bother? Why would Discovery Channel producing and making an entire documentary about it and bringing in Stephen Hawking? Why would YouTube be deliberately mentioning us by name, not only in Congress but in the most recent report that says specifically they are going to be censoring flat Earth?
I think like people like Bill Nye, right, and Neil deGrasse Tyson and channels like the Discovery Channel are more for entertainment purposes than for actual science and knowledge. When I watch some things of the Discovery Channels, right, and about space and so on, I kind of put it away kind of fast because it seemed also more like more focused on entertainment than on informations. But
yeah, they want to keep our minds there, and these people communicate with younger audiences. You know, they don't have to be intelligent. It's whatever gets the attention of the young audience and gets viewership. That's all that matters. And I read an article the other day that teachers were saying that young, like first grader, second grader, elementary school kids, it was becoming a pain to like deal with these kids after they heard what Kyrie Irving said about the Earth being flat. They're having trouble teaching these kids the sphere Earth because now they don't believe in it. I was like, that's awesome.
It's interesting. I mean,
that's awesome.
I think that. I mean, yeah, go.
They're believing it for the wrong reasons because a basketball player said so. However, I don't feel like it's a lie. It's a mistruth. So I don't think they're being misguided. So I'm okay with it. But it is interesting that they're latching onto this because it's making them think. You know, it's only fair for the people who are in control that they entertain both sides in all fairness of the game. You know, they've had a run for too long and it's gotten old and we have too much information at our fingertips and it was bound to happen. Information overload. Something's not right. This Earth doesn't, you know, the information came to us because there's so much of it and we don't know what the hell to do with it.
Yep.
Anthony, are you still here?
I muted him just because
Right.
he is, but I've just muted him because his notifications are coming through his mic. So if you can unmute yourself in the Hangout, Anthony.
Hang on, Nathan, you know, can we just confirm the date today? Because I don't think a lot of people will realise when this is re-uploaded on the Nathan Oakley 1980 that we are actually live now. You know, you've got your ability to live stream back 27th of January. So it's Sunday the 27th of January and we are on the Flat Earth Debate channel. So this is where we're doing the live stream from, just so that everybody's aware. And if everybody can stick some super chat in as well, I'm going to show for you, Nathan. You had a very poor month. You only got 32 quid last month. You got a mortgage to pay. You've got your baby on the way. This is me shilling for you, Nathan. So if anybody's listening in the super chat, please stick some money in. I'm sure you'd be appreciative of it.
I actually feel a little bit sick.
Yeah, me too. But I'm not going to stop him. It's all true.
Well, let me say, I don't give a shit, Anthony. They tried to take his channel down. They tried to ruin him. He nearly lost his house. And he's got a baby on the way. And they've taken everything from him. He got 32 quid last month. Don't start me off now, Anthony, because this, you know, it really gets to me that people think that they can do this to somebody and try and ruin people for this. He's only doing a channel. He's doing something.
I don't know what happened. Can you fill me? Look, I don't need all the details, but
hey, Eric, how you doing? Good to have you.
The daily show on every day, 7 days a week. 7 days a week. He needs your support. Help him out.
think Ranty's just trying to shill for the super chats that will come from hopefully the re-up on the Nathan Oakley channel. So that's what I assume you're going for, and I'm not going to stop him. It's all true, but yeah, it is quite sickening to hear Ranty shilling for me. But like I say, thank you very much.
Listen, I haven't got a problem shilling for you, Nathan. I know you need the money, mate. It's as simple as that. I know that if people can help you out, and there's a lot of people with deep pockets out there that love the show, if they love the entertainment, they love the show, they see that you're doing this every single day, if they want to stick some money in the super chat, I'm going to make sure that they're aware that the show is back, and it will be back on the Nathan Oakley channel probably within the next month. So just letting people know.
Yeah, that I will get behind. I mean, to be honest, it bugs the hell out of me. No offense to Morgile, but when people are sort of saying, look, I'm struggling for money, it is true, but I don't want to say that. I don't care, and if someone else is in that position, I wouldn't care. So as much as I appreciate the sentiment, but the bit I will get behind is, look, if you enjoy the show, yeah, great, chuck me a quid or two, because it does literally keep the show going. You know, you're trying to convince me to do Patreon at the moment, and up until now I've gone, no, I don't need Patreon, it's fine, you know, I'm a YouTuber, that's all good, until someone shuts that bit down, and then you go, oh crap. So yeah, it is all true, but I would rather people supported me because they like the show. That's it. You know, not because I'm in financial dire straits because I've been taken off the air by some bastard for a month. That's not why I want people to support me. If they like what's happening, then they will anyway. But the fact that you encourage them, great. But, you know, encouraging them because I'm poor, I'm always poor.
Yeah. I have to
show off air.
Oh, sorry.
Show off air. Did something happen? You get like reported?
No, I don't think so. The show's running as far as I can tell. You sure?
Or your channel. Like what transpired?
Oh, you're asking what's happened. Are you a bit behind with what's happened? Is that what you're saying?
No, yeah, I have no idea. I just...
Okay, over Christmas, I received 19 bogus copyright claims across 4 channels, which effectively shut me down completely, which meant that I was, up until then, kind of blasé about the fact that I was pretty reliant on one single, well, other than a few t-shirt sales, a single stream of income, and I, you know, built it up to a reasonable degree, which I could actually, you know, use as a replacement for the part-time job I used to do, which was great. I was elated with that, but then I didn't have anything for a month, which is terrible, and that's kind of what Ranty's getting at. But as I keep saying, that's not the bit I want to promote. If I'm e-begging, if I'm going to e-beg, I'll just say, look, if you enjoy this material, your support is greatly appreciated. That's it.
Nathan, I have to make an honest apology because I thought a little about it. Remember when I called you a scammer? I have to say I apologize for that because a scammer makes false promises and gets money from it, and then he lies to people about it.
Right.
I think
you mean like Great Sapien, you mean?
You don't make false promises to get the money. Like a faith healer makes false promises, so they send them money and they get healed, right?
Right. Or
so
like
I
fortune teller.
apologize for that.
Yeah, fortune teller would be a scammer, correct?
Yeah.
I would completely agree. Well, this is
thought about
quite
opening
amusing.
the forum up a little bit, you know, like maybe taking it outside of your home and bringing it to like an actual round table, like a physical round table where you have, you know, live people in a room, you know, talking about the topic. I'm just throwing out ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a few
you know,
meetups.
like,
that's what the conventions will be about, exactly that. So, you know, I'm going to be on the debating panel for the conventions. So, yeah, absolutely, I want to do that, and will, through the means that's being provided by people who will do a much more slick job than I. So, you know, shout out to Gary Heather, or Gary John, I should say. But yeah, the conventions will provide exactly that. But, you know, me as a YouTuber, you know, that's... all I was going to say was Ranty and I had a very amusing conversation. We found it funny. Strong warning in terms of language that's going to come up. My apologies. This is just how the conversation ran off air between Ranty and I. So Ranty and I's chatting about this exact dilemma. I'm moaning, I'm not going to lie. And Ranty's outraged as he is now. But anyway, he's saying you should get Patreon. And I said, well, I don't want to make, as you put it, Zinder, any false promises. You know, I'm up against it in terms of the amount I have on my plate in workload. I do more than a full-time job on what I do already. So I don't have the time to dedicate to giving something extra to Patreon audience, which I simply can't do. And Ranty's response was to say, well, what you could do is you could set out the structure in Patreon to say that you can donate as little as £1, and what you get for that is fuck all. And if you donate £5, you get fuck all. But if you donate £10, you also get fuck all. So you offer them a whole lot of fuck all. In other words, you're not making any false promises. You've just got a Patreon to literally beg from it. And I'm like, well, okay, that's your opinion, Ranty. That was what I thought was quite amusing. Nobody's laughing, so there we go. Obviously not that funny.
I was laughing.
Hey, Unorthodox.
Well, you understand gear, you know. You have the facility to take it some.
Hold on one sec. Just let me say hello to Unorthodox. Hello, Unorthodox. Good to have you.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Hello. So for
Sorry,
£1
Jonathan.
you get fuck all, but for £5 you get quite a lot of fuck all. And for £10 you get a lot more fuck all.
But I mean, Nathan, you know what people want to see. They want to see you calling someone like you want to see like you and what's his face.
Yeah, welcome Unorthodox. Let's see what nonsense that you come up with today.
What's that? What's the fuck?
Well, I promised you yesterday, Sleeping Warrior, that I'd talk about something completely that I knew that I've never talked about before. So, you know, you guys have had a wank fest this whole time. I figured I'd come on and give you a little bit of crap. Excuse me.
I wanted to show the video to Anthony real quick, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Or,
go ahead.
okay.
And then what I want to talk about shouldn't take very long.
Drag it out as long as you can.
Yeah.
You're up, Cinder, whenever you're ready.
Get a
No, here,
microphone.
I'm going to show it now before it's we'll forget it again. I
Let
will
me know when
skip
you're
a
ready.
little bit. Can you see my screen, Anthony?
Yeah.
Hold on, there's so much noise, I can't hear what's going on. Hold on, everyone shut up. I can't hear what's going on. I've got Anthony making a shitload of noise, Haunted House causing a load of feedback, and Zinder trying to tell me what he wants me to do. Are you ready? Do you want me to present?
Alright, you can present if you want, for sure.
Right.
I wanted to show it to Anthony because I promised him that I will make the will try to make the observation with the angle of attack again. And I filmed it with a smartphone camera. The quality is really shit. I did it in the night, at night, so the laser can be seen. The laser doesn't shine directly on the camera. The laser shines about like 3-4 degrees away from the camera, so it doesn't hit it directly. It is 100 meters. The distance is around 100 meters from the laser from the camera. I will later, if you want, I can even show you the location and so on. And this is just one video I made. So I try to replicate it, right? I take the camera and I lower it down to the ground. The camera might have like half a centimeter height difference to the ground because it isn't directly attached to the ground, but it is a smartphone camera, so it gets really, really close. So then I put it down.
What floor is it on?
It is like a race. You know where they make those 100-meter sprints.
Oh, like a running track.
Yeah, exactly. And the floor is a little soft, right? So if you fall, you don't get too hurt. So you can see it kind of at the ground right now, right? The floor is frozen almost. And then I can skip it a little bit to where I will show you my hand in front, so you can see it. So you can see the floor is kind of close to the thing, right? Oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped it, but wait a moment. Oh no, okay. So you can see the camera is kind of at the floor, right? And then I still don't see the angle of attack thing here, right? It is 100 meters away, and I still can see the light. Not like the video Jose showed me. So I would like to hear your advice later. What should I do to replicate the effects?
Well, did you pick the camera up at this point?
Again?
Did you pick the camera lens up?
No, it is completely vertical at 90 degrees to the ground.
The idea
I'm matured of it.
Camera up to watch what happens with the right. What you're supposed to be doing, your laser isn't what you're testing. Your laser is testing the floor. What you're testing is something in the background. So now that you know that floor's level, because you're demonstrating it now.
Look at the light. This is like a flashlight here. Like I put it right down to the floor. Wait a moment. I'm walking towards it, and then you can see like now it is at the floor.
Right, now that you know that this floor is level, because this is your proof that the floor's not got any obstruction that gets in the way, what you need to do is put your camera back on the floor where it's at and walk away from it and watch what happens to your shoes. That's the point. Or put a book on the floor where your thing is and try and zoom in. Try and not zoom in on, just observe that you won't be able to see the book. You're not measuring the effect on light. You're measuring the effect on the optics of things that are in the atmosphere. So what you're doing here is not the same test. Just go and put a book on the floor, or put. You can do it with this, but do it by the daytime, because at nighttime, I'm not sure it's the same test if you're doing it by nighttime. Do it during the day so you can see, and then see what happens when you do it.
I wanted to compare it to the only time I have seen ships disappearing bottom first behind the horizon, and that it was without binoculars or a camera. It was at night. Those ships were fishing boats in Thailand, which had really bright lights on them, right, to attract the fish. And then I've seen the ship disappearing behind the horizon bottom first, the light of the ship, until I only could see like a spotlight turned at the top, like above. It's illuminated the atmosphere above the ship, but the ship was disappeared. The main light disappeared. I tried to replicate it with the angle of attack here, but I couldn't see any effects. I tried to replicate what Jose did with the light.
Wouldn't Nathan be the one to talk you through this?
I can increase the distance, right?
Well, how far? What is the distance?
100 meters.
Right. So we've now established that there's no obstruction in the floor. So why don't you go back and do it during the day, like everybody else did? Put your lights at the end of it, like you're just saying that you are, but do it during the day rather than at nighttime.
I worried about how much you can see with the smartphone camera, right? Because it is a bad camera. Of course, it has a bad aperture. It has a small aperture, and the good thing about lights is that when everything else is dark, the weakest light can be picked up by a shitty camera like my smartphone camera, because it is the only thing that it is like here, like penetrant.
Right.
Okay,
so
but
you're getting a nice wide dispersion from a light in a very high contrast situation, and you can still see it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Like,
so what you're saying, you think this is a replication of what Jose did, but it's in the dark. So
yeah.
And you haven't picked up the camera.
I did lower the camera to the ground, right, at the beginning.
Yeah, but the idea is you pick the camera up and then put it back down.
Hold on, I just missed that. Sorry.
When you change the angle.
Sorry, Anthony. Can you just play that bit again then, just so I can see that?
This at the big here is like completely above, right, and then I lowered it slowly to the ground.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I've just got I've got a smudge of light on the left-hand side that looks like a snake, and now 4 dots dancing around.
You have to look at the red one, at the laser.
What laser? I see a dot.
Yeah, the red dot. It is the best thing I
gone.
could do with a
Now it's gone.
camera.
It's gone. So did it disappear?
Yeah, because my finger blocked it. But wait until I put it down.
How do I know that? I can't bloody see you, can I?
Like now, wait, when I lower it down, okay, now it's at the ground.
How do we know this? Oh, hold on. This is absolutely insane. Jose shows himself walking along a floor and then lowering his camera. You are presenting a black screen with a dot and telling me that you're covering it with your finger, and you just expect me to accept that. This is utter garbage, Cinder. You're having a laugh.
It is visible here.
Yes, I can see a dot. That's fascinating. Where are you in this picture?
I will show you.
Show me.
Why did you do it at night time? Why
because
did you do it at night?
It is the only way I can see the laser then.
So what you're saying is you've done this in the day and didn't get to see the laser?
Because in the day,
Hold on.
Light
Answer my question, Cinder. Did you do this in the day and get a different result?
During the day, the camera couldn't see the laser.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Let's
because
see
the
that
light
video,
of
please.
the sun.
Excuse me, can you show me that video? As opposed to this utter shite of black with nothing on it.
I don't have the video anymore. Of
Oh,
the day
really?
because it was
So,
pointless.
let me get this straight. You did replicate it in the day and could not see the laser at this distance. So, you've got rid of that video and are showing us this shit instead.
Because
Surely you know the camera couldn't
No,
expose that.
shut up.
Day, Nathan.
Who's talking? Let me get an
camera
answer.
isn't
You replicated
capable.
the experiment almost identically and have got rid of that video and instead have cherry-picked this shit and put this up instead. That's what you've done, Zinder.
But where is the angle of attack here?
Excuse me,
I don't
you're not
understand.
answering me. You have gotten rid of a replication that we could probably see you in and have chosen to present this shit in total darkness.
Well, because in total darkness, the lights can be seen.
I
and
get it.
at
I get the
daytime,
Texas
the lights
sharpshooter.
can't be seen.
This is called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. Get rid of the evidence that doesn't support your argument and present the shit, black, blurry crap that does. Texas sharpshooter fallacy, Zinder.
No,
Cinder,
it
why
isn't,
didn't you-
because during the day, the sunlight is stronger than the laser.
Yeah,
so
I get it. You've got a
obviously
high
you can't-
contrast.
Hang on,
I
hang on,
understand what's happening, Zinder. You've got high contrast. So the light that is the only fucking light in the room is the only thing that can be seen producing light. What a shock! You idiot!
Right, hang on a sec. Stop.
Hey,
Cinder, when I did my Blackpool Tower observation, I deliberately chose it at nighttime because the effects of the atmosphere are much less at nighttime because there's not a haze. Like there's a lot of stuff that's not happening. Can you understand the rationale behind that decision?
I haven't seen yours. Sorry, you have to show it to me.
I didn't ask. Did you understand? Have you seen the footage? I asked. Did you understand the rationale behind why I did it at nighttime?
I would have to see the footage before I can answer
No, you
your
don't.
question.
I'm asking you. Do you understand why I chose to do it at nighttime? Because the effects of the atmosphere are significantly less.
All right.
Do you understand
But-
that?
Yeah, when the atmospheric effects are less, you can see clear
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Right. So my question is, if I was to repeat an observation that Ranty did or somebody did that was dependent on the aperture of the camera during the day, would be an important part of it because we don't want to have different refractive effects, atmospheric effects, humidity or whatever. And I'm not saying this is different because of that. I'm just saying that when I did my observation, I did it at night time on purpose. Now, what I'm going to suggest is you'll probably get different results during the day. So
Of
why?
course, yeah.
So why not go and do it the way that everybody else did it during the day and see what happens?
I'll tell you, because the only way he can get the only light source in the darkened room to appear at that distance is by plunging the entire room into darkness, so that the only visible light that's there is from that point. Precisely why Anthony goes out at night. You have a much higher contrast. Well, that's all going to crap if you've got other things in the room that are limiting the light and contrast. You've only got one source of light in the room, Zinder. Do you think that because of the angle, you're going to have absolutely no light available to the camera when you've got a light on in the room and that's the only light?
Well, that's what happened to the ships I have seen, supposedly, then.
Oh, right. Well, then you maybe
Well-
need to push it out further, Zinder. It will eventually get too small to see. Your camera can't see forever. So even with a high contrast light, you'd have to push it away further, wouldn't you?
Yeah, so the angle of attack is influenced by the aperture size, the distance, the angle to the ground, and the contrast of the objects, you say.
Quite
Okay.
possibly. But the
So,
point is that
a
we're not
ship-
running before we can walk. You're not at this
Yeah.
point. We're still kind of picking up this topic, and we're trying to work out what's going on. And I would say that if the daytime has a difference over the nighttime, that's an interesting claim, and it may well be It may well be true. But you haven't repeated the point that we were making because we didn't say do it at nighttime. But do it on a running track by all means, but do it by the day because that's what everybody else did. If it's different by nighttime, that requires further investigation, and it's a good point. But you haven't validated the claim that we made, which was that the aperture does seem to cause it, and doing it by nighttime is really difficult to see what's actually happening.
Yeah, so would you agree that a ship with a higher contrast towards the sky will disappear button first later after a ship with a lower contrast. Let's say a blue ship will disappear faster button first than a black ship.
No. What I'm saying
But the
is
contrast...
that if you take a look at someone's... I can't remember the guy who did the video. Again, I think it was Flat Earth Perth. And he's got a video of him out with a guy holding a mirror or a torch. And the guy holding the torch is too small to see, but you can still see the light of the torch. So why is the invisible man at play? Well, because the light is dispersing out and creating a bigger angular size than the man. So the man is still physically too small to see, but the light is not. It's got a wider dispersion.
Well, that's kind of why I chose the laser, right? That the laser doesn't get spread out so evenly
hold on.
like
But
a
the laser
flashlight.
does. Hold on. What are you talking about? Everything the laser hits between you and the light itself, it's going to light up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
So, hold on. So, are you measuring the angle of attack to the piece of dust in the near foreground that it's lit up, Zinder?
I wasn't filming the piece of dust. The piece of dust was
Oh, well, that's a shame
wasn't...
because that's what's happening. The laser is lighting up the entire distance. So if there's a tiny piece of dust in the near foreground, that's where you'll see it. Because that's what the laser does, right?
Yeah, but in the video, you didn't see the piece of dust being lit up. It
Oh,
was
so how did we see it then?
Guys, let's use the right nomenclature.
Hold on. Why am I getting interrupted? Yes, if we'd have looked side on, we'd have seen a beam of light, wouldn't we? The full length.
No, the laser isn't strong enough to make it like visible to the camera when it travels through the atmosphere.
How the hell do we know? We've got a... You're making a lot of assertions about this crap black footage that you've produced. How the hell do I just take your word for that?
No, I will prove it to you if you want. At some
Why?
point. I will repeat it.
Why? Repeat what? A black blurry mess with a laser that can light up little bits of dust in the near foreground for you to look at.
Yeah, the problem with it, I tried to light up an object with the laser and film it with the camera, but the object was too dim for the camera to see, right? The camera wasn't good enough to pick up the light reflected by the object.
So what you're saying is the aperture of the camera was too small and it was beyond the limit of the camera?
Yeah, but not because of the angle. It was just too
why?
dim.
Why is that not because of the angle? Why are you making this conclusion? So you've shown us some black crap with a red dot on it, and now you're making all these conclusions.
No, because no matter what height I filmed the object, it wasn't visible for the camera. It didn't matter if the camera was at the ground or in the air.
Oh, right.
It was never visible
so in that
from
case,
100 meter.
Do you not think it would have made more sense to get a bit closer so it was visible and then lower your camera? Would that not been a better method?
Well, I wanted to make it at 100 meters because I told Anthony I would do it at 100 meters.
Even though that's too far for the aperture of the camera to see it at all, ever.
Yeah, that's why I think...
Oh, well, that seems stupid, doesn't it? Doesn't that seem stupid to you, Zinder? It seems stupid to me.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, really? So
Because
you're going to film something at such a distance that you can't ever see it and then see if it disappears from bottom first, when you can never see it ever? That's retarded.
No, as I said, I wanted to compare it to the ships disappearing bottom first, the lights of the
Oh, right,
ships
not compare it to
bottom
Jose's
first.
video then, like you first stated.
Again?
At first, you were trying to replicate, according to you, the angle of attack videos. So do you want to take me to the angle of attack video with a boat in it?
Oh, no.
Oh, right, so you weren't. So you're replicating your own fucking bullshit that you've made up then? You're not replicating anything that we've done. You're just making some shit up that you're going to replicate so you can straw man us with it. So this is a straw man. You're replicating boats, not angle of attack videos.
No, I was trying to replicate Jose's angle of attack video.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to take me to Jose's video and show me the boat in it? Excuse me. There is no boat in Jose's video, you retard. So you are straw manning us. You are replicating something else. Some boats that nobody is filming when they do these videos. You're pushing the distance out as far as possible to replicate boats with a laser. Because, of course, that's what boats look like, don't they? Laser beams. Moron. Yeah, very good replication of a boat, a laser beam. What kind of a moron replicates a boat with a laser beam?
He's removing variables, Nathan. This is what
Shut up!
usually harp
Shut
about.
up, Unorthodox. Who the hell is talking to you? Shut up!
This is
Shut up! Who replicates boats with laser beams? Why not get a little tiny toy boat?
A boat that produces its own light.
Has this boat got a laser on it? Hands up on screen right now. Who sees a laser coming from this boat? Zinder, why haven't you got your hand up?
I wasn't talking about the boat.
There's a
on the
boat
screen.
on the horizon, dipshit. Where's the laser coming from it?
Oh my god.
No, oh my
the
god, don't blaspheme
boat
here. Just
I
answer
was
the simple
talking
question.
about-
Where the
it
hell is the
kinda getting
laser?
really stupid
Where's
right
the
now.
laser? Are you dumb? There's a boat. This is what you're replicating, right, dickhead? Where's the laser?
Oh, the boat is gone. I think it doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, maybe you got over the curve of the earth, right, Zinder? No.
Yes,
Lasers and boats are very different. So next time, why don't you do it with a light source, like the sun, behind a toy boat? Why don't you try that? So that you're not filming little bits of dust that the laser picks up on its way down the 100 metres that you're so insistent on having, even though it's beyond the distance of seeing a little boat. Get into the distance that you can see a little toy boat, if that's what you're replicating to strawman us with, and then do that. Not a laser, because lasers don't come off boats, moron.
You have never seen a laser on a boat?
I just put a boat up on screen. Did you not see it?
Every boat.
I asked
it
you
looks like the one
specifically.
on screen.
I asked you specifically to identify the lasers on that boat. I got dick. Nothing.
All right, so
So lasers and boats not the same, okay? Zinder, do you get it? Not the same. So your test doesn't even strawman us correctly. You're not replicating boats on the horizon. You're definitely not replicating angle of attack videos. You're in your own little zone replicating nonsense.
Cinder.
All right.
Do you understand? Do you understand that repeating it is supposed to be done the same way that it was originally done? Just to validate it, not because you want to prove or disprove it, just to repeat it. That's the point of science, right?
Yeah, but as I said, I know Jose's video was, first of all, it was at night, I think, because he works at night and it was in at the place where he works. The lights were on of the building. It wasn't the sun, of course.
But if you don't do it the same way, it is a straw man because you're doing something different. You're debunking something different. Do you understand that?
Things can be tested at several ways.
Yeah, but the point is you were supposed to be doing it the way it was done to see whether it did the same thing or not. But you haven't done it the way it was done.
Well, I have filmed a light from different angles, from
so what
near the ground.
You haven't repeated the experiment to see whether the experiment does the same thing again. And if it doesn't do it at night time after you've done it during the daytime, then that creates a different conversation. I think we can all agree on that, right?
This is not an experiment.
Test, observation.
Observation.
So the limited viewing angle is affected by the contrast, I learned, as you said, right?
Oh, if you've only got one source of light in the room, the angle's not going to make that light vanish entirely, especially if it's a laser that's travelling the length of the room. You've got so many things incorrect, it's untrue. You've just made a situation that supports your narrative.
Why does it matter if it's a laser, Nathan? I mean, it's a light coming
I just
directly
explained
to the
this.
camera.
Sorry.
Why would it make a difference?
Unorthodox. Do you see that lighthouse in the picture right now?
I don't think it is a lighthouse.
It's just a building in a picture that we see, right?
Yes.
You explain to me how that compares to a laser.
Because light's coming directly from the lighthouse to the lens.
Do you want to show me that
laser.
beam of light that's coming? Show me the beam of light coming from it.
How am I going to do that?
There isn't one, you stupid moron. That's the point.
Looks like ambient light to me, Nathan.
Absolutely correct, Ranty. So we don't have a beam of light coming from the objects that we view, getting smaller into the distance and disappearing bottom first because of a limitation of angle. If we had a laser beam, we might see the laser beam coming across.
It should still be obscured, though. I think it's a pretty good test. You guys always talk about removing variables. That's just what he's trying to do here. I would say
What, by
but we haven't
introducing a
validated the
laser?
claim in
Sorry,
the
that's
first place.
introducing a new variable. What kind of idiot are you? That's not isolating variables. It's introducing a completely new thing. A beam of light travelling the distance is not the same as ambient light refracted off whatever it is you're looking at.
it's still a ray of light coming directly from an object.
Oh, good for you. Well, then
regard.
just believe him. Angle of attack makes no sodding difference. We can see forever.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Go in peace. Take that crap that is not true and makes no sense and sod off. If you want to believe that it makes no difference, that as things get more and more limited in their angular size, they can still be seen, then you're a moron.
No, I mean, it's a decent argument. I'm just saying, I don't really understand your problem with this.
Well, I'll say it again. For the deaf, dumb retard known as unorthodox, we do not have a beam of light coming from this lighthouse. It's just a building. No beam of light.
Nathan, if there's not a beam of light coming from it, how are we able to see it?
Because it's on screen right now, dickhead. Open your eyes. Look at it. Do you see it? Do I need to shove your face into the screen? There it is. Can you not see it? Are you blind? Are you literally deaf, dumb, retarded, and blind? It's on screen. Look, I will circle it with my mouse for the retarded, blind dumbass known as Orthodox. There it is. We see it. There's just no laser beam coming off it.
How do we see it if there's no light coming
We
from
open
it?
our bloody eyes, you moron.
Press 1 if you think Nathan should get a Patreon.
Oh, come on.
So,
Hey, you had a
everything.
crazy tag on your stream earlier, just FYI. It said something about chemtrails. It was like some Wikipedia article below your stream about chemtrails. So y'all are talking about the whole YouTube thing. They're getting you, man. Better watch out.
What? Because we've reached the point that you do or don't accept that things in the distance we look at don't have laser beams coming off them.
I mean, generally speaking, no, they don't. But
Oh, right. So it's definitely not an equivalent to what we've been doing then. So Zinder's a moron, and he's gone off and just devised some method that supports his narrative, like I've asserted 3 times.
what about the flashlight?
Well, did you use a flashlight in the
Yes.
dark?
Yes.
Oh, so it's, again, the singular source of light in the room.
So when I compare it to the fishing boats that attract fishes with light, at
Sorry,
the horizon,
again, wanker. Show me a fishing boat in any of the angle attack videos now.
I will find a fishing boat disappearing bottom first
In
over the horizon.
the angle of attack videos that you are trying to replicate. I'll tell you already, Zinder, we're running out of time on this live stream, and you're becoming very tedious as you start to circle jerk us back to the beginning, where you point out your straw man to us, that we've already pointed out to the audience. This is a straw man. We don't need to hear about what you've got some bullshit replication of, because that's not what you're replicating. You're supposed to be replicating a limited angle of view. Now, if you're replicating lasers coming off boats, then you're just performing nonsense for your own self-satisfaction. Well, I'm not interested in your nonsense, thank you very much. But I am interested in all of the live audience who've tuned in and hopefully shared this debate. So a massive thank you to all of you, and of course, including Zinder and Unorthodox the Dumbass, a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley 1980 stream, the show will continue shortly with the after show, but to all of you in the live audience, I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!